So what's good, TMG fam? It's your boy L and I'm back with another reaction. How y'all feel? Welcome back to the channel. Salute. So listen, man, you ever had one of those aunts, or it's normally an aunt, that's what it normally is, aunt or some type of relative, right, in your family, and they always go to like those garage sales and different things like that and pick up these items, and it be sitting in their house and it looks real weird. Anybody else got an aunt like that? I could rattle off several of them. Hi, aunties. I love y'all. I could rattle off several of them, you know what I mean, by name right now. But one thing that used to always make me nervous is like, yo, like what if you pick up something that's cursed or possessed or something like that? You know what I mean? Just picking up some of this stuff. If you're like an antique collector and different things like that, you never know. So, hence this video, top 10 cursed objects scientists can't explain. You get where I'm going with this? All right, so if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, join the fam, and yeah, let's get ready to check this craziness out.
Imagine an old wine box that just may be holding an evil demon, or a 5,300-year-old mummy that unleashed a curse upon those who found his resting place, or maybe even a statue that promises death to all of those that behold it. There are some things that science just can't explain, and the paranormal is a big part of that, which is why on today's top 10 list we are going to be covering the top 10 cursed objects scientists can't explain. Welcome back, Top 10 fam. I am your host today, Olivia Kozlowski. Let's get right into today's list. In our number 10 spot today, we have the DYBBUK box. The box, which was originally just a plain old wine box, is said to have been possessed by a dybbuk, which, in Jewish mythology, is a malicious demon that takes over the bodies of living people and uses them for evil. The box began to gain attention in 2001 when it was being auctioned off on eBay. The seller explained that he had bought it at an estate sale of a woman who had survived the Holocaust. When he first opened the box, he found two 1920s pennies, a lock of blonde hair bound with a cord, a lock of black hair bound with a cord, a small statue engraved with the Hebrew word shalom, a small golden wine goblet, one dried rosebud, and a single candle holder with 4 octopus-shaped legs.
Right now, what made y'all cringe up first? What made y'all be like, oh nah, something wrong? When you hear like hair, strands of hair attached to something, don't that sound like some voodoo, hoodoo, whatever it is? Don't it sound like some of that? As soon as I heard that, oh, no, this gotta go. This can't stay here.
Small statue engraved with the Hebrew word shalom, a small golden wine goblet, one dried rosebud, and a single candle holder with 4 octopus-shaped legs. Since he bought the box, he reported that strange things began happening, such as really horrific nightmares for him and anyone who had stayed around or touched the box. And when he gave the box to his mother as a birthday gift, she suffered a...
What the Oh my gosh, you can't choose your kids these days, man. This fool turned around and gave it to his mom. He wanted all of this all off of him and turned around and put it on his mom, bro. That's just, oh, that's sick, man. Well, you can tell who really love you these days.
Round or touched the box, and when he gave the box to his mother as a birthday gift, she suffered a stroke the same day. The box ended up in the hands of Zach Bagan, who is a paranormal investigator, and it now resides in his haunted museum. The box also gained even more attention in 2018 when Post Malone touched it, and has apparently been dealing with the repercussions of that ever since. In our number 9 spot today.
First of all, bro, you should feel like the worst kid in history for giving your moms that box. She turned around and had a stroke. Now, I know you somewhere trying to convince yourself that, oh, I ain't have nothing to do with it, but you can't convince me, bro. You had something to do. You played a hand in that, fam. You got to sleep with that. That is just, ooh, bro, that's just cold-blooded. That's cold-blooded.
We have that.
And then you know they probably put all that in the description when they were selling it on eBay, and somebody still probably brought it. Like, people don't care.
ICEMAN. Okay, this one is not an object because it is rather a mummy who was once a real living person, but I still had to include him on this list today because this story is wild. The mummy of Ötzi, who is also referred to as the ICEMAN, was found in 1991 in the Ötztal Alps in Italy. It is believed that Ötzi lived around 3000 BCE and his body became mummified and preserved because of the glacier that surrounded him post-mortem. While this is an incredibly interesting discovery, the finding of Ötzi may have come in a package with an old curse just waiting to be released. Here's the thing. The people who helped with the discovery of Ötzi are all dying under mysterious circumstances. I mean, we're currently at person number 7 within 1 year, so that's very suspicious. When molecular archaeologist Tom Loy was writing a book about Ötzi, he passed away from a blood-related condition that he was diagnosed with shortly after becoming involved with the Iceman. The German tourist Helmut Simon, who discovered the mummy, fell to his death while hiking in the same spot he saw Ötzi. Dieter Warneck, who was the head of the mountain rescue team that was assigned to find the mummy, died of a heart attack at age 45, just an hour after Simon's funeral. To avoid this becoming an hour-long list, I'll stop here, but that is just half of those who seemingly fell victim to the curse of the Iceman. I don't know.
I feel like we shouldn't even have heard this story at this point.
Maybe disturbing a man who's been in the same spot for 53 centuries wasn't the best idea anyone has ever had. In our number 8 spot.
And you know, they've said stuff to people about, you know, when the ice starts to melt around these glaciers, what it can release, we should be worried about. What's trapped in that ice, we should really, really be worried about. I've heard this several times, man, and after hearing that story, that kind of confirms it a little bit.
Today we have the Hope Diamond. This gorgeous, unusually large diamond is a blue color and worth an insane $250 million. In the off chance you have that kind of money laying around, I still wouldn't recommend purchasing it because it is said to be cursed. The curse dates back to the 17th century, and it is said that whoever wears the diamond will have great misfortune and misery.
I know it's a lot of people sitting there right now still contemplating though. Like, I'll take on a curse for 200 million. I hear y'all. I hear y'all. Some people sitting there right now just like, you know, but it's 200 million, bro. Like, I might be able to survive. See, you're thinking wrong. You're thinking wrong already.
Century, and it is said that whoever wears the diamond will have great misfortune and misery. Legend goes that the diamond was stolen from the eye of a sculpted statue of the Hindu goddess Sita, and since then it has been cursing whoever owns or possesses the 115-carat diamond. Stories of the horrible fates of those who have since owned the diamond include people taking their own lives, people being killed intentionally by others, and some accounts even claim that the owner was, quote, torn to pieces, which sounds like one of the worst fates out there. There have since been replicas made of the stone, and I think just to be as safe as possible, I'll probably stay away from those. Just in case. In our number 7 spot today, we have Robert the Doll. Annabelle gets a lot of attention for being a haunted doll, but Robert is just as terrifying. Robert the Doll was a childhood birthday gift from a grandfather to his grandson, who was also named Robert, but more often went by Gene. The story claims that while growing up with Robert, Gene would often be heard by his parents in his bedrooms having conversations with himself in 2 entirely different voices. His parents would sometimes be woken up in the middle of the night to the sound of Gene screaming, only to find him completely frightened in bed with overturned furniture around him. Gene would then blame Robert for all of the strange happenings, and at the time, no one really believed him. Gene kept Robert into adulthood, and it became what people would describe as an unhealthy relationship. Apparently, Gene took Robert everywhere with him and spoke as if he was a living entity rather than a doll. Okay, this story is already not great, but it gets worse. Gene lived in a house as an adult that was called the Artist's House. Robert would be left in the upstairs window where children in the area reported seeing the doll disappear and reappear, and they all chose to just stay clear of the house. After Gene passed away in 1974, a woman named Myrtle purchased the house, and apparently Robert as well. Visitors of the house could swear that they could hear footsteps and giggling coming from the attic where Robert was, and some even claimed to see the doll's expression changed if someone spoke poorly of Gene. Myrtle reported Robert moving around the house on his own, and after 20 years she decided she had had enough and donated him to a museum. Robert still lives in the museum where he is safely locked up, but it is said that he still likes to place a little curse on those who take his photo without permission. The walls of the museum near Robert's glass case are riddled with notes from previous visitors and naysayers who are begging Robert for his forgiveness and asking him to remove any curse he has placed on them. In our number 6 spot today.
What the fuck? What? the? Are you kidding me? You talk about a family that messed up a kid's life, right? Like ruined this kid's life by giving him this. And then they allowed him to keep it throughout his life. And then he carried it on to adulthood. And that's just Freaky Friday. What the No. Everybody thinking about Chucky right now, right? Yeah, that's probably what that is based on. Him. And now he's in a museum, and all those letters are people crying out for him to release whatever curse they think is on them. Now, whether it's mental, maybe they're just going through life and it's mental, they've associated it with him. Yo, that's like, see what happens? And ladies always, I want to, how about take me to a museum? No, I'm not taking you to no museum. No, we're going to go eat dinner at Applebee's, and you're going to like it, and that's going to be the end of it.
Today we have the Atlantis ring. The Atlantis ring was originally made of clay, and it was found in 1860 in the Valley of the Kings in a tomb of an Egyptian high priest. It was then passed on to Howard Carter, who kept it until he passed away in 1939. The ring was believed to be at least 5,000 years old, and It had geometric symbols carved into it that were unlike anything known in Egypt. Here's where the story gets a little weird, though. Howard is one of the people who discovered King Tut's tomb, and he would later tell people he was wearing a talisman when the tomb was opened, also known as the Atlantis ring. He claimed that the ring gave him protection, and that just might be true because he is the only member of the team who didn't die a mysterious death after the opening of the tomb. Even those who visited shortly after the opening of the tomb were subject to this curse, with a total of 18 victims in the end. Howard said that the ring is what protected him against whatever evil forces were at play. So I guess maybe the Atlantis ring is more like an anti-cursed object? I don't know, but what I do know is that it is all quite curious. There are now replicas that are sold, but I'm not sure if any hold the power of the real deal. In our number 5 spot today, we have Thomas Busby's chair. Thomas was a man who lived in Thirsk, North Yorkshire, and wasn't known as a very nice man, but he really loved his chair. I guess we all gotta have something. In 1702, he found his father-in-law sitting in it, and it sparked an argument between the two. The father-in-law threatened to take his daughter back, which, should have never been a threat considering she's a grown woman, but I guess that's what went on in 1702. Anyway, that's when Busby kicked him out of the house. After this, Busby ended up going over to the father-in-law's house and actually killed him with a hammer and then hid his body in the woods. Of course, the body ended up being found, and this led to Busby getting convicted and sentenced to death. It is said that on his ride to the execution, he asked to stop by his favorite pub for a beer, and this request was fulfilled. Apparently, as he finished his drink, he said, "May sudden death come to anyone who dares sit in my chair." I really don't know what it is with this guy in his chair, but while it currently resides in the Thirsk Museum, it has been recorded that many terrible fates have been met by the people who have sat it.
Yo, there's gonna be a story I tell the kids next time. You ever got those kids that fight over a spot? Oh, that's my spot. No, you sit in my spot. I just got up to go to the bathroom. I came back. You sit in my spot. Dad, tell them to get out my spot. Oh, I called the front seat. You know, all of that. I'm telling this story right here. Y'all get mad at me all you want. I'm telling this story. I'm spooking the mess out of them. Watch.
In the chair. In 1972, it was decided to hang the chair from the ceiling so that no one could ever sit in it again, which is probably for the best. So now, knowing this story, I want you to let me know in the comments, if you had the chance, would you sit in the chair? I wouldn't. In our number 4 spot today, we have Annabelle the doll. When I saw the 2014 Annabelle movie, I had no idea it was actually based on a real-life doll, but since starting my job here at Most Amazing Top 10, I know all about the real story. This doll now resides inside of the Warrens Occult Museum, where it absolutely belongs, but this story starts off with a college student named Donna, who received the doll as a gift from her mother, who had purchased it from an antique store. Donna and her roommate started to notice some pretty creepy things happening and swore that the doll was moving. They said it would appear in different places and positions throughout their apartment before things began to escalate. Donna began to find notes that said help in her apartment, and one night found the doll in a different position and covered in some sort of red substance. The girls then decided to contact a medium who solidified all of their beliefs and told them that the doll had been possessed by the spirit of someone who was killed in their apartment building. For some reason, the girls didn't immediately get rid of the doll, and the story goes that their friend Lou, who was at the girls' apartment, heard strange noises one night and went to investigate, and he was then attacked and killed by Annabelle. The girls finally contacted a priest who told them that the doll was possessed by a demon straight from hell, and then put them in contact with Ed and Lorraine Warren. They tried to do an exorcism on the doll, but it apparently failed, and now it is kept in a glass box in the museum, where it hopefully cannot and will never do any more damage. In our number 3 spot today, we have the Uluru Rock. The Uluru Rock is a large sandstone formation that is located in the southern part of the Northern Territory in Australia. It is sometimes known as Ayers Rock, but regardless of what it is called, this area is sacred for the people indigenous to this place. This is part of the reason that those who visit the rock are asked not to take anything from the site. Despite this, people of course still choose to smuggle pieces of the rock out of the area and home with them. Well, other than the bad karma and just in general feeling like a bad person for doing the one thing you're asked not to do, as it turns out, this rock may hold a more sinister secret. Those who have stolen rocks from the Uluru have experienced things like extremely bad luck, severe illness, and even sometimes the death of those they love. The curse these rocks hold is seemingly so bad that it is very common.
That's a messed up curse when it don't do nothing to you, but it do something to the person you love. I think that's even worse. Like, to know that you might be responsible for, that would mess me up.
For the company that runs the tours of the formation to receive letters of apology that contain the stolen rocks. Apparently these letters come so often, at least one a day is expected. Maybe this is a weird coincidence, but it just seems to be happening a little too often for that to be the explanation.
Thanks.
In our number 2 spot today, we have the Bazzano vase. The Bazzano vase was cast from silver in the 15th century and was apparently a wedding present for a bride who lived in a small village in Napoli. On the wedding night, however, the bride was found dying on the floor with her hands wrapped around the vase. With her last breaths, she vowed to have her revenge, and at this point it became unclear whether the vase was already cursed, or perhaps if this may be what caused the curse in the first place. As time went on, the vase was handed from person to person within her family, and with each new owner came a mysterious death. Because of this, the family decided to hide the vase away in some sort of secret location, and this worked for a while, until the vase was unearthed once more in 1988. The vase also contained a piece of paper from the family that warned, "Beware, this vase brings death." Well, of course, whoever found the vase did not listen, and instead, they sold it once again. The first buyer, who is said to have been a pharmacist, owned the vase for 3 months before passing away under mysterious circumstances. Then there was the 37-year-old surgeon who died after having the vase for 2 months. After this was the archaeologist who only made it 3 months with this vase in his possession, and at this point, you get where this is going.
I'm not accepting no gifts from nobody. No more, no gifts. I'm not accepting no gifts, and I'm gonna be a re-gifter. You try to give me something, giving it right to somebody else. I don't want nothing. Nothing from nobody, bro. You see what people do to you?
We don't know exactly where the vase ended up, but I'm hoping it's somewhere deep underground.
And far, far away from me.
Or maybe in space. Or maybe in the
Facts.
Mariana Trench. Just anywhere far away from all of us.
Facts.
In our number 1 spot today, we have the Goddess of Death. This statue is sometimes also known as the Woman from Lem. This artifact, made out of limestone, was created sometime around 3500 BC, and it was found in Cyprus in 1878. Over the years, it has belonged to many different families who have all been ruined and dismantled by death. After the first 6 years of ownership, all 7 members of the first family died. It then moved on to a second owner, and after 4 years, death began to come to him and his family. There was then a long period where it was unclaimed, but once the third family got a hold of it, several members of that family began to die as well. The third family ended up turning it over to the Royal Scottish Museum, where it thankfully still resides. However, the museum curator who handled the item was mysteriously killed a few days after. It is clear whatever curse this statue holds, it is strong and frightening. All right, guys, that has been our list for today. Thank you so much.
I'm telling y'all, man. If y'all ain't learned nothing from this video, bro, be careful what you buy. Again, at these garage sales and these thrift stores and stuff like that, and these places where you get this, be careful of what you buying. And be careful of the gifts people giving you. Think they so nice. Oh, they just want to give you something. No, they might be pawning something off on you that they don't want to deal with no more. I'm telling y'all, man, everybody's intentions is not pure, bro. As seen in this video several times. Oh, man, that's scary. Yo, man, y'all get at me in the comment section and think about that. Some of y'all probably planning on going to a garage sale this weekend, bro. Think about it. That's all I'm saying. It's your boy L, man. Y'all get at me in the comment section. Let me know what you think. And yeah, stick around and stay tuned. That was crazy. Till the next one, I'm gone. Peace.